So as you can see, I have my book of the month box here. It's Monday night. I got the email earlier today at work that my box had arrived, and I had to suffer for hours at work knowing it was at home and I couldn't open it yet. Got home immediately, set this up. Sorry you got my messy desk, but the sun's gone down. This is what it is. I already opened it, filmed a clip and everything while I was doing an actual unboxing, and I look like a freaking pumpkin. So we're redoing this because sometimes you just gotta do it. So book of the month. This is the first time in a couple of months that I've actually picked up the box, and I actually got 2 books this month because there hasn't really been a lot of like speculative sci-fi fantasy stuff that I've really been interested in, and I tend to skip months when I'm not really super excited about anything. I just skip because it's part of my book buying ban. Like, just because I have book of the month doesn't mean I must get a book every single month. So I've been very good about skipping when nothing really stands out to me, but this month made up for the last couple of months of no interest because I got 2 books. One was one of that I was interested, kind of anticipating this year, and the other was a complete surprise. Hadn't heard of it, even though it is a fantasy novel. Like, out of nowhere, this book showed up in the picks for this month, and I was like, okay, that's the one. It was like a beautiful cover and everything. So here's my books. The first one I got is, drumroll, I don't know. First one I got is Dragonfruit by Makiia Lucier. Look at that cover. That cover is just like, how do you even put into words how beautiful this cover is? The color, the artwork, like, it's stunning. Look at her earring. Look at the snake she's holding, the bat looking thing. Like, I can't get over this cover. And the back is beautiful. Like, it's just, I'm just so excited. This is one of those where, like, I do get, I do judge a book by its cover, and I do get swayed by beautiful covers. And this is one of those times, but I just, look at it. Look at it! How am I supposed to have resisted this? It's just freaking beautiful. The second book I got, an add-on, was The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. And I'm sure very many other people got it because when I added The Familiar, they said my book box would be a little delayed. I figure that's because they knew it would be very high demand. I am not the biggest Leigh Bardugo fan, but I do enjoy her writing enough that this sounded intriguing, and it was intriguing enough, like the story, the setting, everything, that I was like, when I saw it was an add-on on Book of the Month, it was like a no-brainer. We'll see how it goes. I kind of just, I thought Six of Crows was okay, which is, I guess, kind of heresy on the book internet. I DNF'd Ninth House. I had a lot of issues with it when I DNF'd it. The Shadow and Bone I thought was okay. I didn't read the whole trilogy, just the first book. Same with Six of Crows, I only read the first book. So I think Leigh Bardugo is fine as a writer, but I am very intrigued by this setting. It's vampiric, like this cover is also incredible in its own way. So got it as an add-on, and my Discord book club, those of us who got it for Book of the Month, are actually doing a buddy read. So 2 very different covers. We got the beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, colorful one here, and then absolutely gorgeous in its own way, dark red, vampiric, goth loveliness here. So, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I had to unbox it right away. Just beautiful. Like, I'm so excited that when I finally got back to buying a book for Book of the Month and I picked a book, like, these were the options. So, let me know what you got for Book of the Month. Did you also get The Familiar like everybody else in Book of the Month probably did? Let me know if you're reading Dragonfruit, if you grabbed it because it was beautiful and you were as intrigued as I was. And I will catch you guys in the next clip. Hey there. It is Friday morning. I have a little time before I start working from home today. It's a gloomy Friday morning, but whatever. So I'm going to do a wrap up today. Not a lot has quite happened this week, which is fine. Doing it today because tomorrow we're going to the Ren Fair for my husband's birthday, and then Sunday me and a coworker are going to the LA Festival of Books, which should be exciting. So maybe I'll, you know, take some video. Might have a little book haul, so I don't know if I'm going to do a separate video for that or just wrap it into next week's weekly wrap up. So we'll see how it goes. This is going to be a short one. What have I done? I haven't finished anything since last week, but I did DNF. I DNF'd Ninefox Gambit by Yoon Leigh. So I think I got about more than 50% of the way through. And essentially what it boiled down to is that for all of the complex world building and the way you're thrown into the story, like that doesn't bother me in a story. What bothers me is that, or what made it eventually unreadable for me, is that I didn't have a single connection to a single character in the story. And the same thing happened with City of Last Chances by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It was a complex world, is very realized. It took, you know, my brain a bit of time to get used to it, but eventually I did, and I found it so interesting, but I just did not care about the main character, did not care about what was going on with the main plot, did not care about, there's, I would say, sort of a secondary main character. Didn't, like, I was vaguely interested in their backstory, but not enough to really stick with this story. It's very, I would say, very plot heavy, and that doesn't really bother me, but I just didn't care. I didn't care enough about the characters to keep going through this story in this very, very strange and alien, and when I say alien, I mean alien to our general Earth knowledge idea of what a story and world is. So that I'm a little sad about that, because it's such a well-loved and well-awarded series, but it wasn't working for me. I didn't care. And at the end of the day, I just don't want to keep reading a book where I don't care about anything in it. So DNF that. I am glad that I finally tried it and gave it a good try, like 50% of it, and it's not for me. Moving on to what I'm currently reading. So after I DNF'd Ninefox Gambit, with the back-to-back of Ninefox Gambit and City of Last Chances, I didn't want to get something intense again, so I went into something that I have been wanting to try for many, many years, and I am reading Naked in Death by J.D. Robb, aka Nora Roberts. This is a weird one. It's pretty old in terms of when it was published, and essentially it is a murder mystery series, but with a speculative bent because it's set in the future. It's like 27 or 2800. I think it's the 28th century, so 2700s, 2800s, something like that. And it is essentially a dark cop murder mystery, but it's speculative in some way. And we follow and despite it being speculative, it still follows the same plot beats as any other dark cop murder mystery, except the main character is a woman. It's Eve Dallas is the main character. And I did not expect exactly how sexually violent the serial killer in this was, so that was a lot to start with. But it's compelling. I think in like a day I've made it through like 65% of the book. It is moving very quickly. I do know from just in passing, I mean, the book series is like 55 books, 58 books deep already. So I know in passing that the male romantic interest in this, that Eve meets Rourke, is like her long-term love interest in the series. Did not expect them to start boning like so early, like literally 50% of the book, and they had sex for the first time. So it'll be interesting to see how their relationship develops. But yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it. Eve is a very stoic, closed off cop who just all she has is being a cop, and if she's not a cop, she's worthless. That's just how she feels. She has a lot of trauma in her past. I guess we're going to unpack as the series moves along. Rourke is your typical cold billionaire man who finds Eve interesting for whatever reason, and it's a little icky in the way that paranormal urban fantasy being written at this time is icky in terms of like how alpha and Rourke is, and how much he pushes Eve beyond her boundaries. And I mean, it's typical of the stuff that was being written of the day, so it is of its time. But I mean, I'm gonna keep reading this series as my like palate cleanser, I guess, when I just need a good murder mystery with some good character development to get me through other reads. So I am almost done with that. And then I am reading Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. I love this cover. It's just absolutely beautiful. I would say, I don't know, 40% through the book. So I bought this. This was an anticipated read for me. Mainly because of the cover, but also because I enjoy sci-fi, and I'm starting to enjoy more of the, I wouldn't say cozier sci-fi, but more of the like, I guess cozy is kind of the word, but not in the way of like cozy mysteries or something like that. More lower stakes sci-fi. And essentially in this story, the story is essentially about this cruise spacecraft of a hotel. The spacecraft is the hotel itself, and we start the story with a character, Carl, who's kind of central to this hotel. When he's a young boy and he stumbles his way onto the hotel, it takes off and he's technically a stowaway, but the hotel manager at the time takes him in, gives him a job, and we come back to the story 40 years later when Carl is now the hotel manager and he's been on the hotel his whole life. And at first I thought this was gonna be more like Becky Chambers-esque, with, you know, following Carl as the main character and getting to learn the rest of the main hotel crew and just kind of have like a slow, good story following them. But it's actually more than that, and I was not expecting that, but I also kind of love it. So we are following different characters who are on the hotel, both staff and guests. And Carl is, you know, he's there in every little section. But this is such a cool world that, like, so I forget what year this is set in. Vague future. Obviously humans have, you know, expanded, moved on. Essentially the human race is ruled by this emperor who is like hundreds of years old and essentially just very totalitarian. And interspersed before every chapter is like this little writing by someone called the Lamplighter, who's basically writing revolutionary texts against this emperor. So you learn bits and bobs about this like totalitarian emperor like state that they're living in, along with like the revolutionary aspect of it. But then you also get just like each character. So we have Carl's chapter, we have the chapter of, oh, excuse me, oh, allergies is so bad. Are you dying for allergy season? This is so bad. Where was I? So we follow different characters. We follow Carl, we follow the front desk reception person who had a very short period of time as a musician and then kind of like flamed out and is now working at the hotel. We follow one of the chefs who comes from a planet where he had vague like almost beginnings of being in crime, but not, and like they are like he goes back down to visit and they're like striking at the time. We follow a guest who's a professor who has been on the ship quite a few times for an annual conference that's happening, and then something happens with the conference that is interesting. And then we get to the point of view of somebody who is looking for the revolutionary, the Lamplighter, and they think it's somebody in the hotel. So then that kicks off like a very interesting, like, oh my God, like what? It's like, it just kicked off and opened up this world in a way that I was just like, oh my God, this is so much more. But it still retains that sort of Becky Chambers closeness. Like, even though we're following different characters and it would be easier to have a story where we care about one character more than the others. I think this is a story about the hotel itself and all of these characters making up the hotel itself. So I really enjoyed that. I'm loving it. This is exactly what I needed after some big brain books. Not that this isn't big brain, this is just, it's easier to consume. I like it. I like what it's doing. I hope that the last half of it is just as enjoyable as the first half of it. And honestly, I think this is going to be a big surprise favorite of the year for me. So fingers crossed that it keeps going in that direction. Let me think. Will I finish this by early next week? I'm probably early next week. I might finish it. So Floating Hotel, that's what I'm reading. I am not reading anything else. Let me just, my computer fell asleep and I may get back to it and see, check my notes. Nope, I'm not reading anything else. As for anything else, book haul, you would have already seen my book of the month video inserted earlier in the video. Those are the 2 books I got this week. I may come back next week with some more books from the LA Festival books, who knows? But yeah, that is what I've been up to this week. And I hope you guys have a good sunny weekend or a weekend of weather that is the right weather for you. And I will catch you later.